Hi guys, thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. My name is Philip Port. I've been a British immigration advisor for about 20 years now, and today I'm going to be speaking about the general visit visa, and we're going to be going onto my computer. I'm going to be showing you how to open an account, how to log in, how to answer all the questions. So you're going to see what I see on my computer, and you're going to see how to open the account and answer all the questions. When I get to difficult questions, I'll tell you how I answer them. So I'll take a few. I'll explain a few different scenarios if you've got kids and things like that. If you're not married and you've lived together for 2 years with your husband or future wife. So like your partner. Now, before I do that, I'm going to explain what are the main documents you need for a general visit visa. Most important, either in full-time employment or full-time studies. You need an employment letter. If you're in studying, if you're a student, then you need a letter from your university, and probably your parents' letter and their sponsor letter, because obviously you've got to show the funds how you're going to pay for the trip. But let's go back, full-time employment. You're not a student. The letter should say the date you started employment, your salary, your position, that it's preferably a permanent position, and that you're given absence of leave with preservation of the workplace when you return. So that is the most important thing, and it should be on the letterhead and preferably a company stamp. Second of all is your bank statements showing the income coming into your bank account. Now, if you're from Moscow and if you've got travel history, a bank letter will suffice. But if you're from a region like Dagestan, Chechnya, or you're from a country like India, Bangladesh, Philippines, these are high risk that people will overstay, and they want to see, at least 3 months bank statements. They want to see the salary going in. So employment letter, bank letter with statements. Also, if you're married certificates. If you've got children's birth certificates, you're not going to leave them in Russia or India and overstay in England. You're going to come back for them. Invitation letter or a hotel booking. Now, if it's an invitation letter, if it's from a family member, all they can offer is accommodation. Unless it's very close family like your parents or your children, then they can offer to sponsor the trip. But if it's anything else, you must show that you've got a job. You must show that you've got savings to pay for your own expenses. All they can offer is accommodation. And they must show the relationships through things like birth certificates. They must show that you remain in contact, that you're close, family. This is very important. If you've got a property, include your home documents, your title deed, what we call in England, the title deed to the property. If you've got a car, throw in that as well, the what we call in England, the logbook. Include them documents as well. Okay, we're now going to log in. You're going to see exactly what I see on my computer now. You're going to see how I navigate with the cursor. So you're going to see exactly what I see. So thank you very much. Come with me. I'll click on Google Chrome, and I'm going to apply for UK general visit visa, and then it comes up here, visit the UK as a standard visitor, and then it will give you some guidance. I wouldn't say the guidance is the best, and it's not very good on the type of documents you should support, but anyway, it is helpful. So you've got a lot of information there, although it's not the actual laws or the rules, it's just some guidance. If you're under 18 in traveling alone, make sure you read this. If you're traveling with a parent, just ignore it and apply for a standard visitor. And here again is a little bit of guidance and prices and things like that. Apply now. I always choose English, but you could choose Russia or Chinese, depending, Turkish, whatever country you're from. And for this application, I'm going to pretend we're applying in Russia. And so you click on Russian Federation, you go next. And I know there's lots of visa centres in Russia, so no problem at all. This is mainly if you're in a country that doesn't have a visa centre, but sometimes they have satellite centres. But they'll charge you an extra 60, 70 pounds for transferring the documents to a main visa centre. And you know, and if you lived in North Korea, you would click on "I'm unable to travel" because you're living in North Korea. Then they have a bit different setup, but most countries have them. We're going to start now. Again, some more information. And first of all, we register an email. That's my email, philipport99@gmail.com. Type in a password. You need some lowercase and maybe a comma and a capital. So just make sure you make a difficult password and save and continue. We now log in. Contacting you by email. Who does it belong to? It can belong to me, it can belong to someone else like a parent or an immigration advisor, but obviously I'm filling out the application form for myself. Do you have another email address? No. And what's my phone number? Well, in Russia it's +7 925 780 8976. That's not my WhatsApp number, that's my normal number whilst in the UK, whilst outside the UK, and it's a mobile number. Any other phone numbers? No. I can be contacted by telephone and a message. Obviously, if it was a landline, you wouldn't be able to get text messages. And then we just start very simple. I'm just going to put in P port and save and continue. I have no other names. Now, if you have a patronymic name, if you have a middle name, make sure you put it. Often Russians will have a patronymic name which is in their passports is written in Russian. You need to translate it into English. So anything, if you have a name like that is not in English in your passport, like normally you'll have your first name and your last name, but some countries have a middle name that is not in English, you must translate it into English. So my son is Filipovich, and in Russian, Filipovich, I would spell it, you know, Philip. OVI, blah, blah, blah. Do I have any additional other names? No. If you were married previously and you change your name, or you have a maiden name, then you would click yes, and you'd just put the details of your previous maiden name or your previous married name. Oh, sorry, if you click on wrong, yeah, it'll bring up that. Click no. Right, now I'm a male and I'm actually in a long-term relationship. I'm like unmarried. I'm kind of an unmarried partner. Let's put married, because I tell you what, married, a lot of people are married, but if you put single, it's not going to ask any a lot of things. Then I'm going to put my address. So obviously some countries don't have a postcode, and I'm going to put Russian Federation. Is this address your correspondence? Yes. If you put no, then it'll ask for another address. About this property, how long have you lived there? I've lived there, let's say, 3 years. Now, if you put less than 2 years, it will ask for your previous address. If you put less than 2 years, and problem is, it will ask it if you're filling out the application for a child who's only 18 months old or a year old. It will still ask it again, and unfortunately you just got to put the same address for the child twice, because how could it have lived there more than 2 years if the child is only 18 months? Now, I own it, so you should supply a title deed, a copy of the ownership paper with a translation. Very important. If you rent it, you click on rent, then you should supply a tenancy agreement with a summarized translation. Don't do all 10 pages or all the text, just do your name, your address, and the amount of rent you pay. the landlord's details. Don't do the whole tenancy agreement, and just put on your translations, summarized translations. Now in theory, for a general visit visa, better to have them certified, but a lot of people in Russia don't get them certified. For a spouse visa, if you're applying to go and move to the UK, then you need certified documents. I certify this as a true and accurate translation of an original document. Issuing authority, GB, Great Britain, let's say, blah, blah, blah. Let's say issue 22nd of the 2nd, 2018, and you would put then the expiry date, 22nd, obviously normally 10 years, 2028. Okay, let's have a look. Let me put Russian here. Let's pretend it's a Russian passport as well. Russian. Or Russia, let's say. Russia there, it's asking normally. On your passport travel document, this could also be referred to as country, blah, 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 of issue. Your identity card. Most people above 14 in Russia have a national identity card. If you have one, press yes. It will ask for the issue date, the number, and if it's got an expiry date, you put it in. If not, you just leave it blank. For this application, I'm going to put no. So, nationality, I'm Russian. Country of birth, Russia, let's say, Russian Federation. Place of birth, let's pretend Moscow. And my date of birth is 22nd of the 4th, let's say 1970. And I go next. Obviously, if you're a child, the parents will complete it for you. Have I held any other nationalities? If you put yes, it'll ask which nationalities, and you just add it. I'm going to put no. Right, now if you're employed, you put the employer's details. If you're self-employed, you might be working from home. Explain it in additional information what you do, what self-employment. If you've got a website, put the website address in the additional information. Just put you can learn here more about what I do. If you're a student, make sure you include a student letter. If you're retired, include your pension book. If you're unemployed, now I don't know what to put for a housewife. I always put unemployed and then put in additional information. My husband supports me because it's a very high refusal rate if you're unemployed. Very, very high refusal rate. Unless you're supported by your husband. So I always put unemployed, and then I put in additional information my husband's employment details. I'm supplying his employment letter, his sponsor letter, etc. It's very unfair. It used to have a housewife on there. Now, if you have other regular income, put that. If you have savings, put that. How much do you have? Okay, if you're going for a week, make sure you've got at least £2,000 or equivalent. They're not going to give you the visa if you have £700 and you're going to go on holiday and spend £700 because they're going to say, oh, it's not proportionate to your how much money you have. So yeah, so how much money do you have in savings? So not less than 2,000 if you're going to be spending about 700-800 in the UK. Other regular income might be from, on that question where it said other, it might be from you've got property and you rent it out. So you might want to put that there. So look, we've got £2,000, so I'm going to say we're going to spend £700. That's what we're going to say. All right, what is the total a month for me? Now, I normally go quite low. I normally go about 20% or 25% of my salary. So if my salary is £1,000 a month or equivalent, I normally put about £250. Who's paying for the visit? If you put, will anybody be paying towards your costs? If you put yes, it's going to ask for their details. You put all the information and you explain why they're paying for it. But remember, it's only your parents, if you live with them or you're at university, um, it's got to be a close family member that pays. It's really got to be a close family, and you've got to show through birth certificates how you're related. So if your parents were paying, you show your birth certificate with the parents with a copy of their passport. Right, so let's say we're traveling 1st of January. And remember, you can only apply 3 months before date of travel. If you apply before then, they will refuse the visa. And let's say we're going for 1 week. And next, and it will ask you that question again, so make sure you remember the dates. Later on it'll ask. Now, if they want to contact you, let's say you want to be contacted in Russian, you'd put other. Now, normally they will call your employer for a general visit visa. Normally they'll call your employer. Not often do they call you. You know, so about 25% of the time, the embassy will call your employer, check that you're working there. Everything is actually done in Sheffield now. All the visa decisions, and then they will notify the embassy in Moscow to insert the visa. And obviously the people who do the checks are normally in Russia as well. So they'll have assistants in Russia who will check your employment, check with the bank that it's not fake, bank certificate, bank records. Never supply fake, because if you get caught, and most people do get caught, never supply fake employment letter or bank letters, because if they check that 25% of the time when they check, you've got a strong chance of getting caught. Right, now, if you're going for tourism, you include an invitation letter from your. If you're going for tourism, you include a hotel booking, or if you're visiting friends and family, you will include their invitation letter, and they must explain how they know you. If you're visiting your girlfriend or boyfriend, and you've never met, it's an internet relationship, you must book a hotel. They cannot offer you accommodation if you can't prove that you've met through hotel bookings, or him having Russian visas visiting you, or her having Russian visas visiting you in Russia, you know, or photographs together. You must prove that you've met. And then photos must have the name, the date, the location underneath on the front of the photograph, because they scan them and you cannot put the information on the back. If you're going for business, then you need a letter from your employer why they're sending you, and an invitation letter from the business that is inviting you. So you need 2 letters. Obviously, transit, you just put transit, and when they ask for a hotel booking, you just say, look, I'm going in transit, I don't have a hotel booking. Now, marriage or civil partnership, now they're going to be expecting you to live together. So let's say you apply for a marriage visit visa. You're going to have to show that either the person in the UK is going to move to Russia, or you need to show that the person's already in Russia and living in Russia, and that you're just going to get married in the UK for friends and family. So a general visit, marriage, don't confuse it with the spouse visa, the family visit, or sorry, the family visa where you can settle in the UK. Don't confuse that. That only allows you to get married. But if your husband is living and working in England, they're going to say you're applying for the wrong visa. Apply to settle with him. You know, you should. How can you go there and get married? Apply for either the fiancé visa, which is over £1,500, and then you can switch there, or apply, get married in Russia or somewhere else and apply for the spouse visa. And then you might be going for medical treatment. You might be going for a short-term study of up to 6 months, including recreation. You might have other reasons, but I'm just going to put tourism here. I'm not going to mess around. And here, if you put visiting family, they're going to ask for their address. They're going to ask for the relationship. I'm just going to put tourism. Give main purpose of visit, blah, blah, blah. Just put holiday. You know, you might want to put a full itinerary depending where you're from. If you're from a high-risk country like Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Philippines, They often go there and actually never return. The most overstayers actually in the UK are those that don't need a visa. Like the Americans often overstay, the Australians often overstay. So these are the biggest overstayers because they don't actually need a visa and they come and they stay 2-3 years there. So put holiday, put your itinerary. I'm going to go see Buckingham Palace. I'm going to go see Windsor Castle, things like that. And then now it's asking for my partner's details. So I put my girlfriend Svetlana, Gore. Let's say I put the date of birth. I'll put 22nd of the 1st, 1975. Quite simple questions these. My girlfriend or my wife is Russian. Do you currently live with them? Yes. Will they be traveling with you? Let's put no. I don't want to be putting all the details. People financially dependent on you. Do you have any children? This could, so if you've got children under 18, put yes, and it's gonna come up with all their details. So you put all their details like my son or my daughter, given names. My son's name is Brian Filipovich, and then you put the family name there. Date of birth, you put his date of birth. Does this person live with you? Yes, obviously. If he doesn't, they'll probably ask for his address. Is this person traveling with you? You can put yes or no, and then you save and continue. Now I'm going to go back, not to complete that. I'm just going to put no, although I do have a child, and I'm going to press save and continue. Now at any time, you can show and edit answers. So you can change here, you can change here, you can add, you can log in, you can change it anytime. Now it's going to ask for give details about your parents. So I'm going to put my mother, let's say Francis, port, country of nationality, let's put Russian again. Have they always had the same nationality? So if they've always been Russian, put yes. If they've had any other nationality, you might want to put no, and then you might have to add it. Maybe they were Canadian, maybe they were American as well, and save and continue. Now what I'm going to do now is quickly log out. Hold on, review the date of birth. Oh, I forgot to put the date of birth. Let's put 22nd of the 1st, 1950, let's say, and then save and continue. And then it's going to ask for my father's detail. Let's put, and then let's put first 1950 as well. Country of nationality Russian. Have they always had the same nationality? Yes. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to quickly log out and log back in. So here I'm going to put return to this application later, and then I'm going to copy this link, which will be sent to your email. I'm going to copy this link, if I can, yep, press copy. So I've got a copy of it, although it's sent to your email, and I'm going to sign out. Now when you want to log back in, you'll get this email. Normally I just cut and paste in, normally. But he didn't cut and paste. I made a mistake. I didn't do it properly. So I click on visit a visa. It brings me there, and it asks for the password. You log back in, and it will take you back to where you were. Then you sign in, and you carry on. Do you have any family in the UK? Now, if you ask, I'm just going to put yes, but it's going to ask for all their details. It's going to ask for the relationship, my aunt, my uncle, my mother, my daughter, and it's going to ask for their names. Do they have a temporary visa? Now, you must supply a copy of their UK passport or a copy of their work visa or biometric residence permit, because they can only issue you an invitation letter to visit them if they're legally in the UK. So you need to prove, one, the relationship, and two, they're legally in the UK. So I'm going to go back there, and I'm just going to click no, next question, save and continue. Are you traveling as an organized group? Most people are not, but I mean, you might have gone through a travel company. It might be a football team going to play a friendly game of football. If it's a paid event, then probably you need a tier 5 visa. But if it's just some kind of business meetings or study groups or a free sports competition or a swimming competition, then you would put yes if you were a group of people, but we're going to put no. Now, traveling with another person, it's going to ask, do they have a visa? It's going to ask for their names, their passport numbers. I'm going to put no again. Accommodation in the UK, do you have an address? Obviously, if you go in transit, you'll put no, but you should always have an address. And then it's going to ask for where you're staying. So you put the name of the person or the name of the hotel. So here, if I was staying with a friend, I would put Peter Pan. But let's say I'm staying in a hotel, I'll put Britannia Hotel. Britannia. And then hotel. And then you would put the city, let's say London. I know they're on Marsh Wall, I just remember they're on Marsh Wall. Let me put Marsh Wall. And you would obviously include the hotel booking with your application. You'd put the postcode E14 3HE, and then date you will arrive. It has to be the same dates as before. 1st of the 1st 2022. When will you leave? You remember you already put the dates in earlier. I think I put till the 8th, and then 2022 again. Review your answer. Confirm where you stay. So let's put Britannia Hotel there as well. Right now, and then you save and continue. Do you have other accommodation? So let's say you're going to Scotland. You might want to put yes, but again, you would need to show the hotel voucher. So let's say you're spending a week in London and a week in Edinburgh, you'd put the hotel. I'm just going to put here no. Now, let's say, have you been to the UK in the past 10 years? If you press yes, it's going to ask for your last 3 visits. How many times? Let's say you put 10 times. Let's say you often go there for short visits. If you've been there for like 6 months, they'll probably refuse the visa. Let's say you put tourism and you put the month, let's say 07, 2019. How long did you stay there for? Let's say 2 weeks. And it's going to ask for the last 3 trips. So I'll just quickly do that again. 2018 and 5 days. Continue. And then it will do it a 3rd time. And let's say 2016. They're asking for the last 10 years. Weeks, say 3 weeks. Now it's going to ask you about, have you had medical treatment in the UK? Now if you have, it's going to ask where you had it, did you pay for it? If you didn't pay for it, and it was expensive treatment above £800, they could refuse. They don't like it. You need to pay off the medical bill. If there was a bill, they're going to ask, did the hospital ask you for payment? Let's say you put no, they didn't. The hospital can get a fine. They can be given a penalty of 1.5 times the value of the medical treatment. So let's say the medical treatment cost £1,000 and they didn't charge you. The government could fine them £1,500, 1.5 times the amount. So have you ever been given medical treatment in the UK? It's going to ask all the details about dates of treatment, the name of the hospital, is this treatment still ongoing, etc., etc. Always tell the truth because they can check, but I'm going to put no. Do you have a national insurance number? I have a national insurance number, obviously, because I'm British, but most people on a tourist wouldn't unless they lived and worked in the UK previously. If you do have one previously, make sure you put yes. I'm going to put no. A national insurance number is for your pension and to use the National Health Service. It's like a number like BR002244P, for example. And you type in that number. Do you have a UK driving license? Put no. If you put yes, they're going to ask why do you have it, and they're going to ask for details, and they'll probably cancel it. If you don't live in the UK anymore, they'll probably cancel your driving license for you. So you've got to be careful putting yes, because once you leave the UK for more than a year, they can cancel it. Have you ever received any money public funds? Let's say you was on a visa before, maybe a spouse visa or something like that, and you got some unemployment benefits. You put yes, or the government paid you not to work. But most people are going to be no on a general visit visa. If you've been issued with a visa in the last 10 years, put yes. Date of issue, it only asks for the last visa. Let's say 01/2018, and save and continue. Have you applied to leave to remain in the UK in the past 10 years? So if you've made an application in the UK to go there and live and to work, obviously it'll put yes, and it's going to ask you questions, all the questions here. I'm just going to put no. Now it's going to ask you, have you been to any of these countries? And it's going to ask for your last 2 trips. So I'm just going to put once, because it only asks for the last 2 trips. If USA was the last trip, you put that. If you've travelled to the European Economic Area, you put that as your last trip. I don't want to put 2, I don't want to be filling out, but I'll just put once, save here. You need travel history normally to go on a general visit visa. Then it asks Australia, Canada, but I'm going to put European Union. Which country? Let's say Spain. And let's say tourism. Month you went there, 01/2020, let's say. And let's say you stayed 6 days, let's say. You know, as you can see, it asks for weeks, months, years. And then you press continue. It's not going to ask any more. Normally it would ask for a second one. Have you ever been to any of these countries? Now this is where it gets complicated. Because let's say you've been to Turkey 10 times in the last 10 years, you've been to United Arab Emirates, you've been to Philippines, Thailand. You've got to put every trip for the last 10 years. You've got to put the date of arrival, date of departure. It's a crazy situation. So I'm just going to do one trip. I'm just going to make it up. I'm just going to pretend it was Thailand. So it's everything except for the previous countries, the UK, Europe, New Zealand, Australia. This is every other country. I'm going to put tourism. I'm going to put 10th of January 2017, let's say. And when did I leave? Now, most people 8-9 years ago are never going to remember that. So I always put the approximate days. And obviously you look in the passport, 01/2017. And then it asks, have you been to any other countries? And it's just going to keep asking all your trips for the last 10 years. I'm just going to put, no, I'm not going to complete that all the way through. Immigration history, have you ever been refused a visa, deported, removed? Now, I had an incident with a client where he was stopped on his departure and asked questions. And because he never mentioned that he was asked questions on departure, they initially refused his visa. Can you believe that? So even when he was leaving the UK and he was stopped and interviewed, he should have mentioned it. But I'm going to put no, I've never been banned, never been removed from any country or anything like that. If you do, it's going to ask you to answer that. Have you ever entered the UK illegally? No. Breached immigration rules? No. Convictions or other penalties. If it's in the UK, mention it. If it was a penalty, blah, blah, blah. They've got everything on record. If you mention them in Russia or in another country, you need to explain in detail if it was just a penalty for a driving offence or things like that, or a speeding. But if you were convicted of a criminal offence, you would need to get all the translation of the court documents, and they would check whether it's spent. In other words, if it happened 5 years ago and you had a criminal conviction, they would think, okay, has would he be, would this be exempt now because it's time spent like it was more than 5 years ago? Or if it was a drug offence, I think it's 15 years. If it was murder, I think it's never spent. So let's say you had a criminal conviction, you've got to put all the information. I'm just going to put no, I've never had any of these. Parking tickets, penalty for driving or speeding, no motor insurance you need to explain. Yeah, so if you declare that, then you've got to show all the documents for criminal convictions and arrests and things like that in court documents. Most people have never done war crimes, and here terrorist activities, terrorist organizations, everybody puts no. Everything here is no. Again, have you ever expressed medium, expressed extremist views? And here is also no. You can read the questions. And then it's going to ask, have you ever worked for the armed forces? Now it says career here, so they've added that. So I guess national service you don't need to include, because it says a career, where means you voluntarily joined. Here, armed forces compulsory national. So if you've done that, you need to put it there. If you've been called up into the army, most people in Russia have to do 1 year now. Have you ever worked for the government, intelligence services, security organizations? Have you ever worked for television or a newspaper? And then if you put yes, you just need to put a little bit of information, explain. So then then additional information you might want to put about your partner, about your children will remain in Russia. You know, you might want to put some information, anything additional. So anything you should add there. You might want to add what supporting documents you're doing, although it will give you a checklist at the end. So I'm just going to put blah, 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 nothing there at all. And then I'm going to press save and continue. Then you check everything. You can make changes. Let's say you notice a mistake. You can check everything. And then you press continue. And then mandatory documents, you need to press that. And then evidence of funds, your bank statements. This is obviously, I confirm I understand the conditions. I am the applicant 18 years or over. And I accept the above. Continue, I declare, and you can pay for a 6 month, for 2 year, 5 year, 10 year. If you've never been to the UK before, unless you've got very good travel history and good friends, I wouldn't apply for more than 6 months on your first visit. So then it will ask you to pay $136. Most people get a decision within 15 working days. You continue, then you make the payment, continue to WorldPay, and click on Visa, and then you type in your payment details. So yes, I hope you found that video helpful. That's how you complete the general visit visa. If you've got any questions, or you feel that you cannot do the visa application yourself, please contact me. I'm the web's favourite immigration advisor. My fees are very fair compared to most immigration advisors of what you would pay in the UK. So if you like this video and it was helpful, please subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.